But first up tonight, look, this show goes to every regional, country and rural city and township in Australia. Every one of them. It's unashamedly about bringing you news that affects the regions, and it's unapologetically about championing the issues that matter to those in the country. As such, it's my job here at Sky News to tell it like it is. No fear or favour. So tonight, because nobody is listening right now to the good folk of the bush, in the country and the regions, I'm going to single out the Prime Minister for his lack of leadership. Now, Scott Morrison, you're letting the people in the regions down over this pandemic. Yes, the state and territory premiers are acting appallingly by politicising this virus. Yes, they're being opportunistic and carrying on like dictators. Yes, they'll ultimately be judged at the ballot box for their selfish and incompetent behaviour. But, Prime Minister, you're the country's leader. You're in charge here. You're in charge of the National Cabinet. You set the political and policy tone for this country. How can you allow someone like Daniel Andrews to turn Victoria into a mini Beijing? How can you allow Anastasia Palaszczuk to cripple the tourism industry and endanger lives of people in northern New South Wales by imposing border sanctions? How can you allow Mark McGowan and Stephen Marshall to behave like spoilt brats and simply dismiss concerns about border restrictions? This pandemic has exposed the gulf between the city and country in Australia. It's one rule for city folk and another for the country cousins. The anomalies, the inconsistencies, the downright stupidity of border sanctions on country folk is idiotic and a slap in the face. Now, the Business Council of Australia and 15 other business organisations combined and have warned of the rapid and piecemeal implementation of complex and inconsistent border restrictions. It's affecting families, it's destroying jobs, and it's crippling the nation's economy's ability to recover. That's not me saying that, Prime Minister. That's the Business Council and 15 senior organisations in this country. The goal should be very simple. Free up movement around the country so that we can get on with the job of earning a quid. And as we emerge from a cold winter of discontent, put some sunshine back into people's lives. What that means is the Prime Minister must appoint a person, someone like a Cosgrove, a Campbell Newman, someone who has the ability and the experience to cut through the bureaucratic bull dust maze armed with overriding legislation to stop this rot. The first thing that person would do is go to Albury and Wodonga, go to Gundawindi and Stanthorpe, go to the South Australian border, go to the Tweed and Coolangatta border and establish what the bloody hell is going wrong and fix it. The fragmentation and ad hoc way this pandemic is affecting the regions is a national scandal. It's a national scandal. And while the Prime Minister has done a very good job at bringing the country together to flatten the curve, obviously except for Victoria, he's let the people of the country down right now by this glaring and haphazard approach to the bush. It's a lack of leadership, Prime Minister. Australia is divided now because fancy bureaucrats in capital cities have no idea how to fix the problem. Over to you, Prime Minister. If you're as good as everyone says you are, you'll have your troubleshooter on the ground by the end of the week.